Some might just consider them pixels on a screen, but many gamers, hardcore and casual alike, have come to regard some of their favorite characters as real comrades, which makes their deaths in-game even sadder. Welcome to our channel, and today we'll present you with our countdown of the 10 saddest video game deaths. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to turn notifications on for more videos like this one. Without further ado, let's begin. 10th place, The Joker, Batman: Arkham City. We're kicking off our list with a somewhat ironic inclusion. While no one will mourn the Joker given the sheer amount of cruelty and craziness he caused during his life, his death certainly caused a reaction in many people's gameplay due to how things unfolded, which also speak volumes about his real relationship with Batman. The Joker assumed that Batman would always spare his life no matter what he did, and it seems during his final showdown with Batman that he has, once more, persuaded him to give him the antidote for his illness. After a brief exchange of words, Batman seems like he's not going to give the Joker the cure, so the Joker attempts to seize the antidote for himself in a moment of desperation. However, the cure gets destroyed in the process and the Joker, well, dies. What makes this even more ironic is the fact that, as the Joker had guessed, Batman was going to give him the cure, so he was right from the start. 9th place, Vesemir, The Witcher 3. Next up we have Vesemir from The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is filled with some really powerful and well-written characters, and one of these is Geralt's father figure, Vesemir, one of the oldest Witchers known, who dies while attempting to fight off the Wind Hunt in Kaer Morhen. Ciri, the Princess of Cintra, is ready to surrender herself to save Vesemir. She's instead met with surprise when Vesemir stabs his opponent to save Ciri's life, and in retaliation, he has his neck snapped and is instantly killed. Though we're left with a moment of hope that he'd survive, he was meant to die all along. 8th place, Mordin Solus, Mass Effect 3. Next up we have Mordin Solus's death from Mass Effect 3. While Mordin's death is actually avoidable, most people agree that the complicated series of events and the cost at which you save Mordin are just too much for most players. Mordin was a Salarian scientist. Salarians are intelligent amphibians from Mass Effect that have slender, elongated bodies, large eyes, and 2 horns. Salarians created a biological weapon known as the genophage, which had the power to cause the extinction of another sentient race, that of the Krogans. Mordin is working to cure the genophage to reach a truce between the 2 races, but since not everyone wants to be cured, Shepard can either shoot him to prevent him doing that, or allow him to die later in an explosion as part of a sacrificial act. Either way, Mordin dies tragically. 7th place, Aunt May, Spider-Man. Aunt May is a beloved character even out of video games, hailing from the original Spider-Man comics, so everyone more or less knows what to expect from her video game counterpart. Aunt May has become infected with the disease that is spreading throughout the city, and she continues to help others until the very end due to her selflessness. Before she gives in to the disease, May reveals to Peter that she always knew about his real identity. Peter is then forced to let her die in order to use the only dose of anti-serum remaining to help cure the plague once and for all. 6th place, Noble 6, Halo. Next up we have Noble 6 from Halo. Known as Spartan B312, he was a Spartan 3 commando of the UNSC Naval Special Warfare Command who died during a last stand in the Battle of Azov. He was one of the most skilled soldiers ever seen in a Halo video game who had a tendency to go solo during missions and end up making entire militia units vanish. With the Covenant having overwhelmed Reach's defenses, Noble 6 was one of the few remaining NSC troops left fighting the Covenant forces on the ground. After taking on an enormous force of Sangheili and Ungoi, he was eventually outnumbered and mortally wounded by plasma fire, yet continued fighting even after being disarmed. He was then killed by a group of high-ranking Sangheili, and his iconic helmet was left in the wasteland and remained there for 37 years, after which the surrounding area had been already terraformed. 5th place, Lee Everett. In the next spot of our list, we have Lee Everett from The Walking Dead. Well, it's up to the player to decide who Lee becomes. If either a protector to young girl Clementine or a jerk, he promises to protect the little girl even if it costs him his life, which is what makes his death so uncomfortable for many. After he was bitten by a walker, Clementine is forced to handcuff him to ensure that he doesn't hurt her once he becomes a walker himself. In this moment, the player has to decide if Clementine will shoot Lee, despite being a young girl and opening the possibility of being traumatized by it, or if she's going to be spared of the decision. Both choices are heartbreaking, as they all end up in the same destination. 4th place, Aerith, Final Fantasy. It's impossible to create a list like this one without mentioning Aerith's name at least once. Known as one of the saddest moments of gaming, the tragedy of Aerith's death is enough to make even the most emotionally detached gamers weep in loving memory. Aerith was a flower saleswoman with a kind-hearted and adorable personality who met Cloud due to very curious circumstances and eventually died due to him. Cloud was pursuing the evil Sephiroth, and he tried to slow him down by forcing him to kill Aerith. Cloud refused to do so, and Sephiroth simply did it himself by impaling her with Masamune. Aerith was killed by Sephiroth because she wielded the white materia that would cast Holy. This was the only power that could stop the meteor that Sephiroth was plotting to summon in his plan to become a godlike being. The white materia, shining with the power of Holy that Aerith had succeeded in casting before her death, fell from her hair and into the water around the altar. Cloud promptly took her body to the lake in the city and laid her to rest. 3rd place, Soap, Modern Warfare 3. While everyone knows Call of Duty for its serious military-style action and multiplayer compatibility, each game also has its own generally short but still well-written storyline, and the Modern Warfare 3 one features one of the most heartbreaking deaths in the whole series. If you've been playing COD since the first Modern Warfare, then you're most likely well acquainted with John McTavish, better known as Soap, who you get to play as during a big part of MW's storyline and also during the last 3 missions of MW2. Soap is killed in action during the course of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 after an explosion where he experiences massive blood loss whilst on a mission to assassinate Vladimir Makarov. 2nd place, John, Red Dead Redemption. Coming in the 2nd spot of our list, we have John Marston's death from Red Dead Redemption. Similar to the Joker from the start of our list, John was more on the villainous side than the heroic one, though his personality and story was definitely much more dynamic than the Joker's. Known as the Wild West gunslinger for a time, Marston was known for raiding, murdering, kidnapping, and robbing during his early days. He lost his father at age 8, so things haven't been easy for him from the beginning. Joining a gang at an early point in his life also set him up for the world of villainy early on. A series of events slowly transforming him from a cold outlaw to a loving father, so that's why his death scene is so heartbreaking on its own right. He found himself backed into a corner on his own land as his murderous lifestyle has now caught up to him, and to save what's left of his family, he dies gunned down. 1st place, Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption. In the final spot of our list, we have Arthur Morgan's death from Red Dead Redemption 2. Arthur is the main character of the game, the son of a petty criminal and outlaw whose father, Lyle Morgan, was arrested for larceny just when he was 11. He saw his father die in front of his eyes and, similar to John before him, joined a gang from a very young age. The reason why this particular death is so sad is because of how close we get to know Arthur. By the time of his day, we've learned all what we have to learn about his backstory, his personality, and his relationships with both new and old characters. He dies when he's ambushed by a vengeful Micah Bell, prompting Dutch to intervene, and depending on his honor, he might make a different set of choices that determine his manner of death. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what actions you take. Arthur Morgan either dies from tuberculosis, a bullet to the head, or a knife in the back. Similar to John, he died just as he had lived, like an outlaw. So what are your thoughts on these incredibly sad video game deaths? Let us know in the comments. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more.